there with Ger Cunningham. And now a chance to meet the official. Talk with him there from down one of the linesmen this afternoon. Here's Dickie Murphy. Is he the youngest man ever to referee an All-Ireland hurling final? He's only 30 from the Rapparees Club in Enniscorthy. Pat Moran there from Offaly, one of the linesmen as well. So now the turn. Voice of Finbar Wright and the combined bands of the young and the not so young Artane boys. The release of tension palpable. Barring a first row final for 33 years, we'll be saluting new champions by 5 o'clock this afternoon in the pouring rain. A quick reprise then on the starting lineups. Starting with Kilkenny, the Leinster champions, with Pat O'Neill back, recovered from a hip ailment which forced him to miss the semi-final with Galway, and an alteration in the inside forward line. James E. Brennan selected at number 15 in place of the luckless Adrian Ronan. And there's the quick check on the Cork team. 3 changes from the 15 for the semi-final as the All-Ireland hurling final gets underway. And straight away it's Bill Hennessy breaking a chance to apply some pressure. Good recovery work by Pat Buckley. Liam McCarthy trying to force it across towards DJ Carey, looking for the first score of the match. A beautiful shot from DJ Carey, was sailing over the crossbar. The perfect start, playing against the wind. Kilkenny hit the front. Well, now we'll have a chance to check the severity of the breeze here with Ger Cunningham pucking wind assisted. Cork making that switch anticipated on the 40. Tony O'Sullivan is now in there. The switch with Tomás Mulcahy, who's playing left half forward. And I've noticed as well that Kevin Hennessy has gone top of the left and John Fitzgibbon has gone in to the full forward position. So Dickie Murphy still playing for the Rapparees, very much involved in the local championship down there in County Wexford, taking charge of his first final. He was on the line here 2 years ago. Well struck inside there by Shawnee McCarthy in towards Kevin Hennessy. Flicked away well again. Nice break forward here by Pat Dwyer. Dennis Walsh out there attacking the ball, supported by Tomás Mulcahy. Shawnee McCarthy again looking to put his side on level terms. Lovely delivery, sent over the bar to settle up this match. A point apiece, delighting the Cork fans up on Hill 16. So a very good start, Jimmy.
Yeah, very good point for Sean McCarthy, and that's just the kind of contrast in styles we were talking about beforehand. Shawnee didn't even need to catch that ball, just struck it off the hurley, and it followed on a very good point also by DJ Carey. Well worked score for Kilkenny. So both teams just settling down now. I must say I'm surprised at Kevin Hennessy going left corner forward, but I'm sure they're hoping to exploit his height against the Kilkenny full back line, in particular Eddie O'Connor.
They've actually switched him again out to the 40 right now, and Pat O'Neill is not quite sure who he's supposed to be picking up. He's got in on Hennessy right now. Meanwhile, Liam Welsh, indications of the very slippery conditions. A challenge there as being penalised by Dickie Murphy, calling across Liam Welsh. In this very heated atmosphere, he has his name taken for that rash challenge. So a point apiece. It's Tony O'Sullivan from Bunapirshik's club, shaping up to take this one, and this is 34th championship match. He fumbles it, has to hit it on the ground inside instead to Teddy McCarthy. Back it goes to Tony O'Sullivan, a low delivery inside. Now Kevin Hennessy, having wandered back into the inside forward line again, taking on Eddie O'Connor. 4 Kilkenny men around there. John Fitzgibbon whipping onto it. That's Ger Fitzgerald, showing a lot of industry. Cork players appealing that it's gone indeed for the game's first 65.
It's interesting, Gerald, the Kilkenny backs are all over the place. That Pat O'Neill is now playing right half back, marking Tomás Mulcahy. And I often wonder in this situation, our team's better off to play as they originally intended, lining out and just getting on with the game.
Yes, you can up and end up confusing yourself. So it's going to be Brian Corcoran with the elements in his favour. That's the wind. Very greasy ball, however. Underfoot conditions already very, very damp and heavy. Towards the left-hand side, and has it? It's gone over. Just inside that left-hand post, and the shot by Brian Corcoran from the game's first 65. So just to do a quick recap on where everybody is playing just now. Pat O'Neill is right half back at the moment on Tomás Mulcahy. And it would appear that Willie O'Connor is still left half back. Liam Welch is the one who's gone in to pick up Tony O'Sullivan on the 40. Switches all around the place. Pat Buckley inside toward the Cork inside forward line. Well grabbed in there by Eddie O'Connor. But Glenn Moorman has it batted down for Tomás Mulcahy. Back again to Eddie O'Connor. Tenacity itself, going by 2 Cork men with some difficulty. Inside, Michael Phelan fouled by Pat Buckley. And the line's been in straight away to indicate the position from which the free will have to be taken. Just about 5 minutes gone. Pat O'Neill, one of the 88 miners that defeated Cork in the final. Low and up trajectory inside towards Liam McCarthy, playing in his 3rd final this afternoon. That's walloped out by Shawnee McCarthy. Out to Tony O'Sullivan. Now can he profit by this move into the 40? Delivering it long over the head of John Fitzgibbon. The goalkeeper reads it well. Michael Welch, high challenge. That's a high challenge there. Kevin Hennessy, I think, is the one who caught him. Nicky Murphy making sure that Michael Welch is okay. This is the challenge coming in, Jimmy.
Good goalkeeping by Michael Walsh here. And just see Kevin lets it thoroughly a bit high there. Very high tackle and dangerous play. And the referee in quite quickly and got Michael Welch up on his feet. Dangerous play, and the referee just stopped the warning Kevin quite quickly. Very good goalkeeping by Michael Walsh to go quickly off his line and stop the danger.
Michael playing in his 2nd championship season. Just in front of him, Pat Dwyer, who made his debut against Wexford back in 1989. Hitting it towards the left-hand side of the field, towards DJ Carey's wing. They'll be expecting a good contribution from DJ this afternoon. It's a big day for him. Here he is. And he got the opening point of the match. Chance on his left-hand side. Seems to be going towards the left. Just the first wide of the match. Kilkenny minus some great supporters this afternoon. One of them, Nan Brennan, the lady whom we always see down here by camera 3, as we call it, down where the Arcane Boys band come out. I understand she's training hard at St Columbus Hospital in Kilkenny, wants to be here for the next match. And we wish Michael O'Hare as well, the doyen of commentators, everybody in RT Sport, wishing him well. Hope he's enjoying this match. Michael Foley and Mallow as well. Meanwhile, after the good wishes, it's back with the action. That's Michael Phelan going back very deep indeed. Shawnee McCarthy turning on his left-hand side, having an influential start to this match. Tapped down there by Fitzgibbon. Ger Fitzgerald challenged by Willie O'Connor. Still Willie O'Connor. Right on the end line. That's the foul there by Tony O'Sullivan on Willie O'Connor. Willie has been plagued by injuries really over the last number of years. You may remember the league final here against Wexford, and he lasted only about 2 minutes, I think, that day. So Tony makes his way out. Still marked by Liam Welch. Liam Simpson. Appreciating that he needs a really big display this afternoon. It was on Pat Fox last year. Now John Parr, first chance to shine in this game. Dennis Walsh fails to cut it out. Liam Fennelly against Dennis Mulcahy. That'll be an interesting tussle. Morrissey here against Brian Corcoran. Again Hennessy. Again trying to go by. Eamon Morrissey. Getting in well. Persistence paying off. Cork grouping well at the back. Jim Cashman supported here by Shawty O'Gallagher. Blocked out by Morrissey. Comes out to Liam Fennelly. And watched all the way by Ger Cunningham. Difficult enough save to make that one with DJ Carey coming in at the near post. Willie O'Connor flicking it back to Pat O'Neill. Outside towards Bill Hennessy again for Kilkenny. Cork leading by 2 points to 1. But remember, playing with the aid of the wind in the first 35 minutes. That's Willie O'Connor. Up towards DJ Carey. Blocked down, however, by Cathal Casey. Bill Hennessy again now. Another good challenge in there by Shawnee McCarthy, but good follow-up by Liam McCarthy. Up to Eamon Morrissey, getting there a couple of yards ahead of Brian Corcoran. Blocked again, partially so by Corcoran. Boomed out by Dennis Welch and a long relieving clearance by the 19-year-old. So far it's been an excellent game. Full credit to both teams in very tricky conditions. Hennessy blocked down there by Eddie O'Connor. Runs on nicely for Tony O'Sullivan. Trying to go by Liam Welch, still Tony O'Sullivan. Eddie O'Connor striving to put in the challenge. That's the shot from O'Sullivan. Seems good. It's on its way and it's over the bar. The first point of the match for Tony O'Sullivan. A third for Cork. 2 points the margin.
That's a beautiful score by Tony O'Sullivan there, and Cork can thank Brian Corcoran for some tremendous defensive play there. 2 brilliant blockdowns on Eamon Morrissey, and Tony O'Sullivan gathers the ball here as a result of the clearance from Brian Corcoran, and lovely stick work and very difficult angle. Beautiful point by Tony O'Sullivan.
3 points from 3 attempts so far for Cork. Bill Hennessy for Kilkenny side, who'll be hoping to be near enough to Cork at the half-time whistle, with the elements in their favour for the second half. John Parr now crossing the 45-metre line. Inside towards Fennelly, defended well by Mulcahy, but here's DJ Carey, good shoulder nicely on again, and Morrissey couldn't quite contain it, but it went off a Cork stick, and it's gone for another 65. But there was danger all over that move.
Great chance for Kilkenny there, and again here's Dennis Mulcahy actually fumbles the ball. Liam Fennelly comes in, is robbed by DJ Carey, who elects to hand pass. A brilliant tackle by Brian Corcoran, again puts him off his stride, and Eamon Morrissey can't control it, and Ger Cunningham is forced to knock it out for 65. But again, Brian Corcoran very quick to get the challenge in and knock the player off his stride.
Yes, he's having a really good season so far, Brian Corcoran. Now Pat O'Neill to lob it in. That's Corcoran again, the aforementioned Erin's own man. Out to Pat Buckley. Eddie O'Connor here, just watching it all the way, has the time and the composure. Almost had the freedom of Croke Park to swing it nicely into midfield. Batted down by Shawty McCarthy to his midfield partner at Buckley. Linking up well with the illegal hand pass. So it's going to be a free out for Kilkenny. And the rain teeming down here. The camera shot looking into the dugout. That's the Cork dugout. A busy man, Pat O'Neill. Been given plenty of height. Dangerous ball inside. Corcoran again judging it well. He's starting very impressively. Out towards Pat Buckley. Cork doing better at midfield than many people anticipated they would. Tomas Mulcahy in low. And again Pat Dwyer reading it well, getting out there, showing tenacity. Liam Welsh showing great flair and skill. Up towards Liam Fennelly. Flicked away, however. Corkman waiting for it. And it's Brian Corcoran again. He has hardly played a bad match, and my goodness, after he hit that one away, he lost control of the hurley, and the hurley ended up in the Hogan stand. He's got the hurley back. Liam Welch has got the ball. Blocked down there by Pat O'Neill from the attempt by John Fitzgibbon. Runs on to Teddy McCarthy. The Corkman having to use the breeze in the first half, beating the challenge of Willie O'Connor, but it's gone to the right. Cork's first wide, Kilkenny with one wide as well.
Significant. The rain seems to have taken the wind level down quite a bit, and it's not as strong as I thought it was earlier on. So whether it's blowing up or not again in a minute, we'll see.
This the effort again. Now just watch the hurley. Bye hurley. Kilkenny with an injured man in their defence. That's Pat Dwyer. Dr. Bill Cudahy in there. Vicky Murphy just attending to him as well. Michael Welch ready to puck the ball out. Happily, Pat Dwyer is back and able to take up his position at fullback, where the man he's marking is still John Fitzgibbon. Well done in the air that time by Michael Phelan. And it's a Cork man waiting for it. Brian Corcoran, who else? Belted into space towards Ger Fitzgerald. It's Willie O'Connor over there against Teddy McCarthy. McCarthy, the Cork man, coming out with it. Hand pass to Ger Fitzgerald again. John Fitzgibbon fumbling. Good reaction there by Pat Dwyer, happily recovered. Michael Phelan here. Still trying to find his rhythm and his best form at midfield alongside Bill Hennessy. Early stages in the match, just 13 minutes gone in the first half. 3 points to 1 in favour of the Munster champions. DJ Carey here, one of those experiencing the difficulty holding full control of the hurley, taking too many steps. Very vigilant Dickie Murphy in there quickly. Ger Cunningham, I've noticed, has a towel in the goal area just to dry the hurley every time, to try and make sure the grip is as solid as possible.
And the players seem to find it hard to hold the hurley and strike the ball a long way. Ger slipping off the hurley quite a lot. It'll be interesting to see how far Brian Corcoran, who's a magnificent striker of the ball, how far he can land this in around the Kilkenny goal mouth.
Travelling well on its way in towards John Fitzgibbon, crashing in there. The stick of Pat Dwyer, batted out neatly here by Liam Simpson. Oh dear, just a lapse in concentration. But really the players on both sides deserving of our credit for the opening quarter hour here. In spite of dreadful conditions, they've turned in a very good opening quarter. Difficult for these fans as well, able to enjoy and savour the occasion. Very, very special atmosphere indeed when your county is here on All-Ireland final day. Referee whistling, wanting Cathal Casey to hit this one in just to the left of the post, and I've noticed I think it's Bill Hennessy there and Teddy McCarthy exchanging pleasantries, and the referee stepping in quickly just to warn them about that. While Cathal Casey moves back into his right half back position. Michael Walsh again making sure that the hurley is as dry as possible. Pucking into the wind now, remember. Dennis Walsh striving to contain it, but it's John Parr beaten by Shawnee McCarthy. Down it goes towards Tony O'Sullivan. His jersey is tugged and pulled by Liam Welch.
Just get the feeling of the Cork half forward line. Teddy McCarthy, Tony O'Sullivan, Tomas Mulcahy are starting to get on top of the Kilkenny half back line. That'll be very important because Cork would like to have a few more points on the board coming up to halfway through the first half, and this is an important free again now.
Well, certainly I'm sure they would appreciate that 2 would hardly be enough for the second half. That's the lead they have at the moment by 3 points to 1. So from his own 65-metre line, Brian Corcoran fighting this one in to the left. It's batted down and it very nearly crossed the goal line. I've been amused. Michael Welch was expecting Eddie O'Connor to tap it away, but Kevin Hennessy got there first, and it crawled along the edge of the goal line and stayed out somehow.
Here again, see Brian Corcoran didn't hit this one as well as the previous one he hit, and flies off the hurley a small bit, just dropping wide, and Kevin Hennessy does very well here. Never takes his eye off the ball and knocks it across the 21, and Michael Walsh is caught unawares, actually goes through his legs and across the 21. Liam Simpson, very good covering by the cornerback, knocks it out for a 65. Good play by Liam Simpson, always watching the ball and not giving away a goal there.
Some further practice then for Brian Corcoran. Outstanding throughout this campaign. Today only playing a 5th championship match. Goes in, goes up the Cork sticks, and that's gone for a puck out for Kilkenny. Cork's 3rd wide.
Kenny full backline, in fairness, under a bit of pressure at the moment, and they're coping quite well with a lot of dangerous balls coming in around there. In particular, Pat Dwyer, full back, has started very solidly.
Again, the wind whips up quite a bit, and of course teams are that little bit fresher in the first half when they can face into the wind. Jim Cashman coming out with that. Pat Buckley towards Tomas Mulcahy, whipped in along the ground towards Ger Fitzgerald. Jim Simpson under some pressure, Tony O'Sullivan advancing. Pat Dwyer the one who knocks that one out, only as far as Tomas Mulcahy again. There's the happy knack of getting goals in All-Ireland finals. He gets a point on this occasion. for the Glen Rovers man. So 3 points between them, and 18 minutes gone in the first half.
That's exactly the type of score that Cork need from their half-forward line. Tomás Mulcahy, as I said already, Antonio Sullivan, Teddy McCarthy are getting on top of their opponents, and they need to take all those chances with the breeze behind them. And first-class score by Tomás there.
Cork making a switch in their inside forward line, back to the way they were selected originally. Kevin Hennessy now at full forward. John Fitzgibbon is at top of the left. Pat O'Neill hungering forward towards Eamon Morrissey. Can he be the decisive factor in this match yet? Sean O'Gorman watching it all the way, taking it around the attentions of Jamesy Shiner-Brennan, who has yet to impress in this game, has seen very little of the action. DJ Carey, always influential, tapping it nicely over the bar. Lovely controlled strike by DJ to get his second point. Got that little bit of latitude, and now he pegs it back to a 2-point difference again.
Can't afford to give DJ Carey any room. It wasn't a great clearance by Sean O'Gorman, and DJ Carey, all these scores are very important against the wind. They'll give Kilkenny a great breathing space that comes up as the nearer it gets to half-time, and it further increases the pressure on Cork.
The puck out going into the half-back line. Bill Hennessy back there to augment the trio. Out to Teddy McCarthy, and over the bar it sails. So everybody in Cork's half-forward line has now scored in this first half. Teddy playing his 36th championship match today.
Ball knocked back in again, just like Tomás Mulcahy a while ago. Teddy McCarthy anticipating the ball back out of the defence, and as you say, Gerard, that's the third Cork half forward to score from play, and that's very significant because scores from play win all Ireland's, and if they can keep going that way, it'll be a great boost for Cork.
Very fine skill indeed as well. The way he hit that one, didn't have to take it into the hand, instinctively putting it over. Teddy's record is rather interesting indeed because of the 36 championship matches he's played. Today he plays his 18th hurling to match the 18 in football as well. So Cathal Casey has discarded that black helmet. Driven down towards Tony O'Sullivan, been well marshalled now by Liam Welch. Cross into the centre where there was some holding by Dennis Welch on Liam McCarthy. Liam McCarthy playing for the Liam McCarthy Cup. So that's the 65-metre line, and DJ being told to withdraw just a little. Driven well, up to the left. Kilkenny's second wide, 3 wides for Cork as well.
That was a poor wide by DJ Carey, in particular, again, as we've been on about it before, with Cunningham taking the puck out. It might have well have been a ball he could have kept in play and tried to put a bit of pressure on the Cork full back line, whereas now you have Cunningham landing the ball right back down into, into the Kilkenny half back line.
Delivered well down, seemed to come off the stick of Michael Phelan that time in towards John Fitzgibbon. Fitzgibbon with a loose pair just ahead of him. Tony O'Sullivan couldn't quite get the hand pass inside, and it's Pat Dwyer very competently coming to his side's rescue. Cathal Casey nipping in, the wing back wasn't hooped, and he's put it wide. So now the wides mounting up. Michael Welch here, who plays of course for Dixborough in Kilkenny City, Paddy Grace's old club, last year's intermediate hurling champions. Towards Bill Hennessy, marked by Dennis Welch, down towards John Fitzgibbon. Well, after that explosive start in the opening 12 minutes or so, it's gone just a little bit stale in the last few minutes. Good blocking, however. Pat O'Neill, been challenged by Pat Buckley all the way. This tenacity paying off for the Cork man, inside towards Tomás Mulcahy, finds the range, or does he? Just dropping a little bit short, scooped away, and it's gone for another 65 at third.
Yeah, here you see again Pat Buckley foraging well, and Cork are backing each other up well here. Good pass out to Tomás Mulcahy. I thought for a second it was going over the bar, but always an awkward ball for the goalkeeper with Kevin Hennessy coming in around him. Michael Welch doesn't hold on to it and knocks it out again for a 65. We've seen quite a bit of that already today. In the conditions, it's hard for the goalkeepers to hold on to the ball.
Not exactly the place you'd like to play, I can assure you. So Brian Corcoran coming up. Scorer of a point from a 65 already, his 5th point in the championship overall. He'll have to be content with that because he's missed another. Cork now with 5 wides. Ryan Corcoran scored just 1 out of 3 attempts from free so far. All kind of vantage points been taken up. The railway lines at the background there, and this Cork supporter balanced rather precariously just behind Michael Welch's goal. Johnny McCarthy again attacking the ball but missing it. Cathal Casey instead. Bill Hennessy trying to restrain him. Knocked in towards Kevin Hennessy, trying to get that ball into his hand. Well marshalled by Pat Dwyer. Hennessy having to live off broken play, and Pat Dwyer hooked by John Fitzgibbon as he was about to make his clearance on towards Tony O'Sullivan. Challenged by Liam Welch. Delivered inside. Tomas Mulcahy had moved inside, so too Teddy McCarthy, and it's gone again off for Kilkenny back. So a 4th 65 for Cork.
Easy, great pick up by Tony O'Sullivan here. Players are slipping and sliding all over the place, and again a high hopeful ball, not a great ball into the full forward line by Tony. And here you see Teddy McCarthy racing in the blind side, just tries to knock it away again, out for a 65.
Nicky Brennan there, the Kilkenny selector, along with Ollie Welch of course, and Pat Aylward. Barry Hickey there, the development officer. Under the teeming rain, you have to come outside the dugout really to get a good view of things. Right now watching Brian Corcoran attempt another and miss another 65. Oh, delighted Kilkenny people, appreciating that might well be the difference between the teams at the end of the day.
Well, they're all important here, and with just a 3-point lead, Cork with the mentors will be very concerned that they've missed 2 65s in a row, and I wouldn't be surprised maybe if Cathal Casey gets a shot off the next one just to change it around a bit, to take the pressure off Brian a bit.
Just 1 out of 4 65s converted so far. The challenge by Pat O'Neill deemed unfair as Tomas Mulcahy was bursting his way through. Pat O'Neill's a very, very strong young man.
Again, Tony O'Sullivan trying this one, Jared. It's very difficult for free takers in the conditions because the hurley is wet and the ball is damp also, and it's inclined to slide off the hurley.
And the umpires considered it, but deemed it outside. Cork now with 7 wides. 25.5 minutes into the first half. Cork with a 3-point lead, 5 points to 2. Great roars of support now from both sets of supporters. Great traditional rivals down the years. Brilliant catch in midfield by Bill Hennessy. Best piece of fielding in the centre of the field we've seen so far. DJ Kerry trying to advance, stopped by Cathal Casey. Dennis Mulcahy trying to take it out of that defensive area. A real little pile-up of bodies there. Bill Hennessy in the thick of it all. Likewise, DJ Carey, I think. Correction, DJ on the right, the man on the on the left-hand side here, player lying on the ground in need of attention. That'd be Jamesy Brennan, indeed it is. So, Jamesy Brennan, who was the captain of the under-21 side, a very successful side 2 years ago. Back at the half-back line, they're still considering switches and changes.
I think Pat O'Neill has gone into his normal position of centre half-back. I think it was significant. Tomas Mulcahy was getting well on top of them, so Kilkenny have reverted back to their original line out now in the half-back line.
So, the action continuing, and it's Teddy McCarthy trying to make his way forward, but he's been adjudged to have carried the ball too many steps. Very vexed Teddy McCarthy, having words there with Dickie Murphy, nonplussed by it all. Cork with 5 points out of 12 attempts so far. Kilkenny with 2 points out of 5. Cathal Casey batting it down, keeping a tight rein on DJ Carey, one of the real danger men for Kilkenny. Out it comes. Willie O'Connor, poor ball inside. Easy one for Jim Cashman to take. Gleefully accepted, cut out well by the man back there who's defending really well, Liam Simpson. Out to Willie O'Connor. Nice ball into space towards Liam Fennelly, missed by the fullback Mulcahy, and the referee seemed that Dennis Mulcahy was fouled as awarded the free out to Cork. It was looking dangerous for the Cork defence. Kilkenny were menacing, Mulcahy had missed it.
fairness, a very good decision by Dickie Murphy, because he spotted that Eamon Morrissey had played the hurley of Dennis Mulcahy, which allowed the ball to run through, and he's been an excellent referee so far today, very good up to the play, and players know he's on top of his game.
Yes, he's a referee well respected. Referee at the club final, the league final, and now the biggest one of all, the All-Ireland hurling final. 7 minutes to go to half-time. 5 points for Cork, 2 points for Kilkenny. Liam Welsh now playing in his more accustomed position of right wing back. Tomas Mulcahy continues to be the player that he is due to mark, although at the moment it's Michael Phelan who's gone to pick up the Cork number 11. Shawnee McCarthy caught right across the face of the goal. Dangerous situation. Ger Fitzgerald beaten for it by Liam Simpson, flicked back in by Kevin Hennessy. And finally, with Willie O'Connor combining splendidly with Liam Simpson, way down the field it's sent. Stopped by Jim Cashman. Cut out here by DJ Carey against Cathal Casey. What a battle they're having. And the linesman across on the far side, Pat Horan from Offaly signalling that it's going to be a Kilkenny ball. Ted Carroll in the background there, in the centre, with the cap. County Secretary, of course. Pat Aylward on his right. Meanwhile, the Brollies are out here. Frank Murphy bringing the Cork umbrella for the Michael O'Brien there, with a kind of Alaska-type jacket on his shoulders. Nicely inside towards Jamesy Brennan, quiet so far, trying to thunder his way through. Ball's gone lost, and the referee signalled that it's a penalty, I think, for that dangerous challenge on Jamesy Brennan. And tempers flaring somewhat. Decision. The referee speaking with Dennis Walsh for that challenge there as Jamesy Brennan was going through. Brennan was on the ground, the ball was nowhere.
It'll be interesting to see this again, because the ball actually, Jamesy Brennan gathers it beautifully, races inside the defence and tries to go through. He actually falls and tries to hand pass the ball away here. Dennis Welsh tries to block it. Jamesy Brennan's trying to pick it up off the ground, and Dennis Welsh comes in, just pulls carelessly across Jamesy Brennan rather stupidly, and not sure what the referee is going to do. He's given a penalty.
Yes, it's a penalty, I think. A bit of impetuosity. So 3 on the goal line. Ger Cunningham coming out to talk to his defence, warning them about a possible rebound here. Brian Cunningham and Jim Cashman.
It'll be interesting to see what Kilkenny do, Ger. Will they go for a goal playing against the breeze? They're only 3 points down, and you'd wonder what they're going to do at this stage.
I think Ger was a bit concerned about the ball being perhaps too dry.
I think he was concerned that the ball might have been trying to behind the goal, Ger, a pressure ball.
Happened once or twice before, Jimmy.
I think it did.
All right. Well, this isn't the Munster final of several years ago. This is DJ Carey at a significant stage of the match, coming up to hit the penalty and score! 4 minutes before half-time. DJ Carey, a goal and 2 points. Kilkenny's only scorer. Delighted Kilkenny supporters. The game tied up, and Kilkenny with the wind at their backs for the second half.
Here you see DJ Carey again, beautiful striker of the ball, and drives it hard and low, and again, as I said already, ball hops in the ground before it gets to the defence, and that's always very difficult for a defence to see where it's going to go, especially when the ground is so wet and it slides off the ground. And again, if we can get a chance later on, I'd like to see that instant where the penalty was awarded again, whether Jamesy Brennan might have fouled the ball on the ground before it came to that.
There certainly was a possibility. Interesting decision also by DJ Carey to go for a goal, because many another player would have tapped it over the bar, I think.
Well, to be honest, Ger, I wasn't sure, you know, and it's always a lot of pressure on a young player whether to put it over the bar and just keep 2 points behind. So what a fantastic boost for Kilkenny coming up to half-time.
And Cork in this first half with 8 wides against 2 for Kilkenny. Telling statistics.
Interesting enough, DJ Carey, the only Kilkenny player to score, I think.
That's right. Tomas Mulcahy appreciating now that Cork have a giant-sized task on their hands. They've got to pull this one out of the fire. They have a chance, and Kevin Hennessy kicks, and he's put it over the bar. He's very, very disappointed with himself. He was going for a goal, no question about that. He'll have to settle with a point. Cork back in front again.
Great chance again, great work by Ger Fitzgerald, putting pressure on the defence. Kevin, what he's so good at, getting loose inside and I just wonder why he didn't hit it with the hurley here. He seemed to have plenty of time. He elected to kick it from quite a long way out, just like Joe Rabbit did in the semi-final for Galway, and it went over the bar. And normally Kevin is deadly in that situation. Short is the hurley and buries it in the back of the net. I thought he might have taken in another 2 or 3 yards.
He's also usually a very good footballer. This is one sailed in, met by Eddie O'Connor, comes out here towards Liam Welsh, challenged by Tomás Mulcahy, half blocked down. Corkmen waiting there for it in numbers. Pat Buckley against Liam McCarthy, well deflected, but Cork get it back. Teddy McCarthy being moved across onto this left-hand side in spite of the number 10. Kevin Hennessy feeding it back inside. Low pick up there by John Fitzgibbon. Blackett comes to Pat O'Neill for Kilkenny. But Kilkenny centre half back, drilling it outside towards Bill Hennessy. Hennessy there challenged by Cathal Casey, with 1 minute and 25 seconds on my watch remaining in the first half. Well, an exciting first half overall. Some tremendous skills. But Bill Hennessy and company certainly will have DJ Carey to thank for that first half. The only scorer for Kilkenny, and keeping them very, very much in the hunt for their first McCarthy Cup for 9 years. But Cork will certainly have a response. It's going to make for a fascinating next 35 minutes. Bill Hennessy, met by Jim Cashman. Pat Buckley leaving this one there for Tomás Mulcahy. Bill Hennessy again getting back into position, challenged by Seanie McCarthy, picked up neatly by Tony O'Sullivan. O'Sullivan bottled up, held. Bill Hennessy says, what was I supposed to do?
Well, this is an important free note, Ger, because Cork have done well to get back and be a point ahead, and even another point at this stage could be very vital and give them, going again 2 points up even at half-time. That would be encouraging, having come back and given away the penalty.
Brian Corcoran is back minding the house on this occasion, and it's Seanie McCarthy. From this angle it looks good, and it's gone over the bar.
Great score by Sean McCarthy. He was under a lot of pressure there, and it's going to be a real test of Cork's character, and they'll need all those chances, and that really was a pressure score. First class point by Sean McCarthy.
2 points between them, 2 points for Seanie McCarthy. And the Cork substitutes and mentors will be making their way towards the dryness of the dressing rooms very, very shortly. We're now in injury time. Bill Hennessy. Fairly shortened there by Teddy McCarthy to get in the hoop. Down towards Ger Fitzgerald. Cork leading by 2 points in the 1992 All-Ireland hurling final. Teddy McCarthy flicked across. Eddie O'Connor having difficulty, but supported well. Pat Dwyer getting the ball out, but the referee Dickie Murphy from Enniscorthy and Wexford blowing the final whistle of the first half. Just 2 points the margin, but the all-important goal coming from a hotly debated penalty 4 minutes before half-time. As Dennis Walsh had his name taken, the penalty converted by DJ Carey. Half-time score, Cork 7 points, Kilkenny 1 goal and 2.
Waterford Miners went in against Galway at half-time, leading by 4 points, having played with a breeze. It wasn't enough for them. Will this 2-point lead be enough for Cork? We'll talk about what we've seen in the first half, talk about the second half to come after the commercial break. Stay with us for that.
Travel between Dublin and Cork from just £12 return. Bus Éireann, we're on the move.
Just one treatment of Keprovan smashes mastitis throughout the 8-week dry period right up to calving. Keprovan, the long-lasting dry cow protection.
Listen carefully. There's only time to tell you twice. McDonald's has bacon double cheeseburgers. Sizzling hickory smoked bacon, golden melted cheese, and a double layer of juicy beef on a sesame seed bun. It's great value. One taste and you'll do a double take. McDonald's bacon double cheeseburgers. Come in on the double, cause they're going once, going twice, then they're gone.
To get my hair into great condition, I don't need 2 bottles. I need 1 bottle.
Vidal Sassoon Wash and Go. Great hair, no fuss.
Every day should have its golden moments. Barry's tea.
Welcome back again. Well, it's still raining here at Croke Park, but even the wind and rain today couldn't do anything to spoil this great occasion for hurling. Indeed, anything couldn't be less from the truth, because the first half of this senior final, a truly fascinating affair. Half-time, Cork leading 7 points to 1-2 against Kilkenny. But we asked the question before the commercial break, will that be enough for Cork? Let's find out what our panel think. Pete Finnerty and Kieran Barr have been joining me here this afternoon. Well, Pete, you've tipped Kilkenny. They're losing at half-time, but I think the advantage, I suppose, very much in Kilkenny's favour now for the second half.
Yes, coming out the second half, Kilkenny will be happy enough going in 2 points down and going back out with the breeze on their backs. I'd say they're happy enough because there is a pretty strong breeze there.
Let's have a look at this penalty incident, which really put Kilkenny back into it again. And your thoughts, Peter? Perhaps a free out, the commentary team was suggesting before the penalty was given.
Yeah, you could say a free out, but it'd be very harsh on Jamesy to call a free out there at that stage, because he had his head down, he was off balance when he got the ball up, and he was going through. He was tumbled to the ground then. Yeah. There was a bit of a melee here, and this is crazy for Dennis Walsh, through a man of his experience, to pull like that in that situation. There was no real need for it, because there was no danger at that stage. It was well surrounded, it was out from goal, and it was silly what Dennis did in that incident. I couldn't see a free out initially for that.
Fair enough, Pete. Well, DJ Carey then, Kieran Barr stepped up to take the penalty. Would you have gone for a goal? Would you have gone for a point?
We were discussing that just as he did it. My opinion is you go for those chances. You're playing into the wind, you might get another penalty or a range of a shot, a possibility of a goal like that for the rest of the game. So you take your chance then when you have it. And DJ did the right thing. He hit it off the ground on a wet day and it's going to slide under the keeper, and that's actually what happened.
He also threw the ball a considerable distance in front of him. He was practically in the goal by the time he hit it.
But funny enough, he was mentioned during the week that he was talking to Eddie Kerr. You ever see Eddie Kerr taking a free? Eddie Kerr nearly was on top of the goalkeeper before he hit it. So he's obviously taking lessons from Eddie.
Here it is,
you know, it's the perfect way to take a penalty. You get as close to the goalkeeper as you can, and you've got all your momentum going forward. Look what Dennis watches. Look, like these rules, we have rules in GAA, and they seem to be flaunted both in football and in hurling when it comes to penalties and people moving off the 21-yard line. But he did the right thing. He put that away. But he took his chance.
If he can get away with it, why not? Kevin Hennessy's miss. This might yet be significant, Pete, for Cork.
Yeah, this could be ruled out by Cork later on. This is typical Kevin Hennessy, getting inside the defence. You saw him against Down there earlier on in the preview, and he got into the position all on his own, rose it up. I thought he might have gone another bit, or maybe struck first time. I was surprised to see him kicking from that distance. Unlucky again, it flew over the bar on him.
All right, Pete, thank you for the moment. We have another commercial break to take, but stay with us. The second half of this year's All-Ireland Hurling Final coming up right after that.
It's new from Lion's Tea. It's 100% pure tea. It looks a little unorthodox, but it tastes lovely.
From Lions, 100% pure tea. In an instant.
These whole wheat flakes with bananas and juicy raisins are delicious.
Excuse me, I think you'll find it's bananas, hazelnuts and apples,
No,
right?
darling, apples and raisins.
With Kellogg's Fruit and Fibre, you never get the same bite twice.
Trouble in the dining room again, Mr. Hardwick.
Nonsense, Ivy. It's the highlight of their day.
Kellogg's Fruit and Fibre, never the same bite twice.
Birdseye challenged me to make France's famous chicken chasseur even better by making it a healthy option. Take the leanest chicken, no need for this, lemon, some onions, without butter, it's a low-fat sauce, and tomatoes. All cooked in a little wine. Now the real challenge for Birdseye healthy options, the locals. Birdseye healthy options, the best food made better for you.
From the traffic-beating Colt to the seven-seater space wagon to the rally-winning Gallant to the luxurious new executive Sigma to the go-anywhere Pajero. No one makes a range of cars quite like Mitsubishi.
New from Lion's Tea. It's 100% pure tea. It just looks a bit weird, but be open, man, to new experiences. Try it.
From Lions, 100% pure tea. In an instant.
Like ice in the sunshine, HB in the sunshine, I'm melting away on this sunny day.
As the Artane boys band play themselves off the field here at Croke Park in readiness for the second half. Changes perhaps in the Cork team. Let's find out from our reporter John at pitchside, Jim Carney.
Hello to you, Michael. Well, I've just been in the Kilkenny dressing room, and the big news from there is that Christy Heffernan has been asked to take off his tracksuit and get ready to come on, but he won't actually be coming on at the very start of the second half. However, James E. Brennan is suffering from extremely sore ribs, and Kilkenny fear that he will only last a few minutes early in the second half. They've asked Christy to take off his tracksuit. He's ready to come in. I also feel from talking to Kilkenny mentors that they want Christy to make a big impact when he comes on, but it looks, from what they've said to me, that it won't be past 3 or 4 minutes before the big man is in. Certainly the tracksuit is off and he's ready.
Thank you, Jim Carney. Pete Finnerty clearly a ploy for Kilkenny. If James E. Brennan is hurting at this stage, they would normally change him. Obviously they want a big roar for Christie when he comes on in the second half.
They obviously they want to introduce Christie at some stage of the game, and with 2 points down and with the wind on your backs early on, I'd say you'll see Christie coming in, and it'll get the crowd behind Kilkenny, and it'll put a bit of doubt in the Cork players' minds. So you could see Christie pretty early on if James E. is injured.
Kieran, looking at this from a Cork forwards point of view, it's not gone well for them in the first half. Now they're playing against the breeze, so a worry for Cork here.
I'd be more concerned about Cork and what changes they're going to make. It's you know, I'm not going to say that it's a crisis or anything, but Father O'Brien's going to have to be asking serious questions of some of his forwards, especially John Fitzgibbon. And he's got a very big reputation, and he hasn't done anything at all today. He's been pulling at everything that's come near him. He hasn't put his hand up really. Once or twice he has, but it doesn't look like it's with real conviction. And they've got a few guys there, you know, if Ger Manley or Egan or Mark Foley or somebody goes in and are prepared to put themselves about.
We have heard, Kieran, by the way, that there are no changes at half-time anyway in the Cork team, so obviously they're prepared to let it sit for another while.
Well, I think you have to. Like, you give a guy a chance, you give him one last chance and say you get out here for the first 5 minutes, and if it's not happening, you're coming off. Now, if that's the situation, maybe that's the best thing you can say to him, but I can see changes in this Cork team. If they're going to go 2 or 3 points down, someone's going to have to change.
Well, here they come for the second half. Pete Finnerty, the wind has not died any little bit here at Croke Park, so Kilkenny then are going to play with the strong breeze in the second half.
Well, it's definitely going to be an advantage to Kilkenny, because in the first half they weren't getting the ball up as far as their forwards, and as a result only one forward has scored, and that's DJ Carey. This half they'll be getting more ball, they'll be getting maybe a few 65s and things like that, which DJ will slot over the bar. It's going to be an advantage to Kilkenny, but again Cork will have to work harder. The forwards will be facing the ball and taking on their men, and it's going to be interesting, but it is an advantage to Kilkenny, and it's looking good for Kilkenny at this stage.
Okay, Pete, Kieran, thank you very much for the moment. So then, both teams back out here on the field at Croke Park at half-time. The score was 1-2 to 7 points in favour of Cork. Let's see what the second half brings us as we go back to our commentary team of Jimmy Barry Murphy and Ger Canning.
Yes, as you say, it's going to be Kilkenny who will have the elements at their backs for the second 35 minutes. Cork poised and ready in midfield. Pat Buckley and Shawnee McCarthy there. We await the arrival of Big Christie. Cork with 8 wides from that first 35 minutes against just 2 for Kilkenny. Cork with 50% success from their shooting, 7 points out of 14 attempts. Kilkenny likewise 3 points out of 6 attempts. And significantly, Liam Fennelly, the only one other than DJ Carey to get a shot on the target. He's still to score, however, which is a worrying factor. So Ollie Welch making his way back into the dugout, taking up a comfortable position. Rain still easing its way down from the clouds as Dickie Murphy gets the second 35 minutes underway. So straight away Liam McCarthy being put back on the white helmet, watching Pat O'Neill with the wind now at his backs, delivering the long pass inside. Dennis Mulcahy there being restrained by Liam Fennelly, having received a knock on the side of the head as well.
It'll be interesting, Ger, as a panel were saying at half-time, to see when Christy Heffernan is introduced. I think Pete Finnerty was making the point that they're waiting probably a few minutes to give the crowd a lift, and I think that's probably good tactics, get the crowd behind them. And in these conditions, the play is going to suit them. High balls dropping around the square. They haven't been winning a lot of those balls, and Christie's certainly no better man in that situation to win the ball and lay it off to his forwards.
Yes, he's a terrific sub to be able to bring in. Liam Welch under pressure from Tomás Mulcahy. Fed in by John Fitzgibbon towards Kevin Hennessy. Still struggling to make the big impact he's capable of, and again he makes contact with the goalkeeper Michael Welch. Another high challenge to the head, and again referee not going in to issue any caution. It wasn't as serious a challenge by any manner of means as the one in the first half. So Pat Dwyer
There's Kieran Barrow saying half time also the Cork full forward line simply have to get into the game. They must get on the ball. John Fitzgibbon and Ger Fitzgerald in particular. Kevin has been doing fairly well. They must get the ball in their hand and start taking on the Kilkenny full back line.
Yes, the two men in the corner still struggling to make any kind of impact, as Bill Hennessy now has the freedom of the park to turn, strike it inside. Brian Corcoran defending admirably. He's missed those 65s, challenged highly there by Jamesy Brennan. Again, the referee going in to take the name of Jamesy Shiner Brennan for that unfair challenge on Brian Corcoran. So now we have had, I think it's 3 players with their names taken.
I think Jamesy Brennan took one look at Brian Corcoran here and said he wasn't going to try and show them, just swung his hurley loosely at him, and nothing very dirty about it, just a careless pull, and referee getting quite quickly.
Probing ball sent inside towards John Fitzgibbon again. Eddie O'Connor doing well, but Tomas Mulcahy bearing it on goal. Willie O'Connor stopping, and it's Ger Fitzgerald from the attempt, and it's in the side netting. Ger Fitzgerald fed the pass by Teddy McCarthy, but he couldn't turn it inside the cover of goalkeeper Michael Welch.
What a boost this would have been for Cork just for the start of the second half. Tomas Mulcahy, which he's very good at racing onto the loose ball. He's blocked well by the defence. Teddy McCarthy knocks inside, and here you see Ger Fitzgerald, but again, that's great goalkeeping by Michael Walsh. Very quick off his line.
Big Christie is in. Christie Heffernan coming in for his 28th championship appearance in place of Jamesy Brennan. Meanwhile, Sean McCarthy batting it down in the centre of the field. Well fed back by Michael Phelan to Pat O'Neill. A day for rolling up the sleeves and doing the simple things well by both teams. In towards Big Christie, being marked in there by Dennis Mulcahy. John Power foraging. John Power breaking through, and John Power scoring. He went straight through the very porous Cork defence to put Kilkenny a goal in front after just about 3.5 minutes of the second half.
Well, this is just the impact Christie Heffernan makes. His very presence breaks up the play, and John Power snaps it up, races at the Cork defence again, and here you see kicking the ball again like Kevin Hennessy in the first half, but this time it actually side kicks it, deflects off the side of his foot, wrong footing Ger Cunningham. What a boost for Kilkenny.
Yes, a huge injection of confidence now with the arrival of Christie Heffernan and the goal so early in the second half. So now what's going to be the Cork response? Likewise, can Kilkenny keep their collective noses in front? Down towards John Power again, challenged strongly by Jim Cashman. Again, it's Power going in, fouled. 3 to Kilkenny. Jim Cashman will be quite upset about that goal that John Power scored, but the influence of Christie Heffernan so very, very evident early on.
Well, I think it's just his sheer presence here. The other defenders start immediately looking around you, and they were exactly the balls that Liam Fennelly couldn't win in front of Dennis Mulcahy.
So now DJ Carey with his first 3 of the second half, trying to find the range, admirably struck with great conviction. A goal and 3 points now for the player from Young Ireland's in Goran. From place balls, that's 2 out of 3. Very good average indeed. The battle at midfield. Pat Buckley struggling at this stage. Bill Hennessy. Well, they're playing with a fresh approach altogether in this second half, Kilkenny. There's a livelier bounce about their play.
There is indeed, and their midfielders also now getting on top. John Power doing damage at centre forward, and I'm just wondering when will Pat Hartman be introduced. Cork certainly need to bolster up the midfield and get that ball driving into their full forward line, and they're going to have to be demanding a huge effort from the full forward line. They need goals, I think, at this stage.
One would imagine that he would be the first in. That's cut in by Michael Phelan, just a little bit too vigorously. Kilkenny's first ride of the second half, only 3 in all. Ger Cunningham pucking into the wind, dropping near the 45-metre line, caught in there by Tomas Mulcahy, fouled by Liam Welch, free on the 45-metre line or thereabouts.
That's a great catch again by Tomas, and he really is playing his heart out there. Won a good free, and again, a very important free again for Cork. If they can just keep hanging in there, it's a huge test of their character now, but they can hang in there, they could still do it. You know, there's a long way to go in this game.
So Shawnee McCarthy, who's taken over the free-taking duties from Brian Corcoran. Again hitting on his left-hand side, and again finding the range quite superbly. That's 3 points now for Shawnee McCarthy. 8 points his tally in this year's championship, and as you see, there's just a point between the teams. 3 from 3 his figures in the game, 3 attempts to getting a score. Kilkenny's DJ Carey, shouldered by Jim Cashman. Again DJ, fleet-footed and sticking it over the bar. Expertly taken score, rallying his side now. So he's got 1-4 out of the tally of 2-4.
Well, he's a beautiful hurler, classic wing forward play here again, winning his own puck out, racing through the defence, and he's a beautiful hurler, lovely score from there.
Jimmy, I guess he has to be about the best in the country, or nearly the best hurler in the country in this year's championship. He's been playing quite superbly.
A lot of people were wondering, can he be shut out of the game? You know, there was a few doubts about DJ, but he's such a class hurler, and you can't beat him when he gets going very fast.
Here he is again, whipping it down inside the full back line. Saved well by Ger Cunningham, half blocked out. Shawnee O'Gorman responding well. Michael Phelan trying to win the race with Tony O'Sullivan. O'Sullivan nipping in there first, having difficulty in the greasy conditions, taking it up and passing it back towards Dennis Walsh. Wasn't expecting it. Instead it's Liam Fennelly advancing. He's made a good bit of ground, and Liam Fennelly has put the ball over the bar, and Liam Fennelly has finally got a score. His second attempt at getting a point finally produces the reward, and Kilkenny edge just a little bit ahead once again.
Here you see Tony O'Sullivan, most uncharacteristic for Tony. He actually fumbles the ball. A loose hand pass back to Dennis Walsh, who again fumbles it. Cork just getting a bit ragged at the moment on. Liam Fennelly gathers it well, races into it. He does the right thing, knocks a simple point over to keep the pressure on Cork and keep the momentum going.
By our figures, Kilkenny have had 4 attacks in the second half, and they've had 4 scores. Pat Buckley trying to take that ball up. But Kilkenny playing with renewed heart, and Liam Fennelly coming in with that unfair challenge, which the referee quite correctly penalises. And Dickie Murphy just appreciating that a quick chat to Liam Fennelly will do the trick. Cork get the free, and Shawnee McCarthy watched by Father Michael O'Brien, Gerald McCarthy and the rest of the selectors. And it looks like Pat Hartnett will be in very shortly. His influence around midfield could be quite immense. Huge one inside, defended well, but Cork trying to get the shot in. Finally breaks out towards Willie O'Connor, pressurised there by Tony O'Sullivan, turned right back into the cover of Willie O'Connor again. Again it's Tony O'Sullivan in this terrific final. Picked up by DJ Carey. A long relieving ball by DJ Carey down towards Christy Heffernan. Heffernan against Dennis Mulcahy. Was there a bit of jersey tugging? The referee says play away. Mulcahy on towards Jim Cashman. Cashman has left the ball behind. It's gone back to Christy Heffernan again. The shot, and it's gone sailing over the bar. Christy Heffernan's first point since coming in the second half as a substitute. 4 points the difference. It's looking good for the Cats from Kilkenny.
But Cork really have to try something at this stage. Pat Hartnett will have to be introduced into the middle of the field to try and bolster up it. Cork are under fierce pressure in the middle of the field and in the half-back line now as well.
Michael Phelan's influence and Bill Hennessy around midfield, immense. Shawnee McCarthy still continuing to battle his heart out, but the pass really going nowhere, just as far as Bill Hennessy. Another probing ball inside. Morrissey put off his stride by the attention there of Brian Corcoran. Second wide of the second half for Kilkenny, 4 in all.
Kilkenny all over the field now, Ger, putting fierce pressure on the Cork players. A lot of blocking down to the end. They're really hunting in packs. Their dander is up now, and they're going to be very hard to stop. Cork need to get a score badly.
Cork have now gone back into the half-forward formation that they were originally selected in. Tomas Mulcahy on the 40, Tony O'Sullivan on the left. That's caught superbly by Michael Phelan. What a great midfield player he's turned out to be this year. They always knew about his class, but he's really come on a ton during the past season.
The Cork are going to have to try and bolster the midfield. I know I'm going on about it, but Kyle Casey or Pat Hartnett will have to be switched to the middle of the field to try and get some supply of ball into the forward line.
Well, Kilkenny, I'm sure, will have their plans to counter that as well, as Pat O'Neill fights this one in towards the left-hand side, and still held in somehow there by Liam Fennelly, caught by Ger Cunningham out to the middle again. Michael Phelan once again under the dropping ball. The rain has thankfully eased. The wind still supporting Kilkenny. Just a hint of sunshine about to make its appearance. And a real competitive All-Ireland hurling final. with Eamon Morrissey trying to make some room for himself. Hesitation there by Pat Buckley and by Dennis Walsh, and the profit there gained by Liam McCarthy. And he might well turn out to be quite a profit yet down around Kilkenny, because he snapped up the chance. Hesitation by Cork, and you can't do that against players of the calibre of McCarthy. And Pat Hartnett is coming into the match as anticipated, with about 12 minutes gone in the second half. Pat Buckley, the one I think who is going to make way, or is it going to be Dennis Walsh? Buckley is going across to left half back. Dennis Walsh is the one they've taken off.
Well, Pat Hartnett has actually got the right half back there. I think Colin Casey midfield, and Pat is picking up DJ Carey, who has been a huge thorn in Cork's side this afternoon for the whole game.
So Hartnett against DJ Carey, that will be an interesting clash. Meanwhile, it's Teddy McCarthy there against Bill Hennessy. Shawnee McCarthy. Michael Phelan standing his ground. Jim Cashman with good ground hurling being illustrated by both teams. It's picked up here by Cathal Casey, raiding now across the 45-metre line, turning back again, trying to make a pass secure inside for Kevin Hennessy, looking for support, battled down brilliantly by some excellent tenacious defending by Pat Dwyer, but not as far as Cathal Casey, and he's put it over the bar. The defending may have been good by Pat Dwyer and co, but the clearance wasn't a good one, and Cathal Casey sticks it over the bar, a point that keeps Cork very much in touch.
Well, Cathal Casey did the right thing there. Kevin Hennessy had a chance just before that, and maybe he should have just knocked the ball over the bar. Cork just need to get a score to try and get settled in their team again. They have a new formation now and try and build up a bit of momentum.
Shawnee McCarthy, as Jim Cashman takes the ball out of the Cork half back line. Kilkenny responding really well, however. The sunshine, the very welcome sunshine now everywhere in Croke Park, shining particularly for the Cats from Kilkenny, leading by 4 points, giving a tremendous display. Cork will have to battle every step of the way if they're to have a chance of notching up another McCarthy Cup success. This is Pat Hartnett. First chance to impress against the other number 18, Christy Heffernan. In steps Brian Corcoran. Dodging around Kilkenny men, delivering the pass left-sided inside towards Cathal Casey, battling there with Michael Phelan. Tremendous tussle being exhibited by both teams. The decision goes with Kilkenny. Correct decision, I think. But two teams certainly giving their all at the end of a long campaign. 2-7 for Kilkenny, 9 points for Cork. That's 13 points to 9. Some holding. Christy, I think, the guilty party on Dennis Mulcahy.
Again, just a minute ago there, some tremendous defending by Brian Corcoran, and you'd wondered if he wasn't playing as well as he is today, that Cork full back line would be in dire straits. He really has covered off, and for such a young player, it's a marvellous performance by him.
And Kilkenny making a change, a positional switch, but Cork bringing in, it looks like Ger Manley, who's coming in a forward or half forward, and Gerald McCarthy coming in just to have a word there with the player who may well be making his way off, but Ger Manley is in, and Ger Fitzgerald, the Cork captain, who didn't impress, is on his way off.
Well, Ger Cork need to try something. I'm sorry for Ger, who just didn't have one of those great games today, and he's been a great servant of Cork hurling, and then he'll be back again.
The great servants of Kilkenny hurling right now are certainly doing the business, but pressurised by Tony O'Sullivan and the Cork men. Greasy conditions. Tomas Mulcahy trying to get his way in, fouled, injured on the ground indeed. And it's going to be a free-in for Cork from the 20-metre line, and a chance to put just 3 points between the teams, and plenty of time thankfully remaining. It's the kind of match you would wish to see an awful lot more of. Really good skills exhibited by both teams in a really good battle. So Tony O'Sullivan taps it over. That's 2 points in the contest for Tony.
That's much better play from Cork in the last 4 or 5 minutes, and certainly the switch of Cathal Casey to midfield and the introduction of Pat Hartnett has tightened things up quite a lot, and if they can just keep it going now, they're well back in the game, and who knows what could happen.
So the view inside the Cork dugout as Michael Welch pucks this one down. the sun into the eyes of the Cork defence as well. Also the breeze into their faces. Cathal Casey now at midfield. Don't forget, Pat Hartnett right half-back, Pat Buckley left half-back, and a restructured half-back line to cope with the threat, the twin threat really, of DJ Carey and Liam McCarthy. The protest from Bill Hennessy. And sadly, the Cork captain, Ger Fitzgerald, who, as Jimmy said, had one of those days. Just behind him, Mark Foley, and you wonder whether they would gamble with bringing in the very tall half-forward. It's going to be Cathal Casey, very versatile player, to take this sideline cut. It's sweetly in towards Teddy McCarthy, got there just ahead of Pat O'Neill of Kilkenny, steadying himself to hit the shot in, and watched all the way by Michael Welsh, needing to get the clearance in now. Ger Manley breathing down his neck. That's well won by Shawty McCarthy there against Bill Hennessy. Mention of Hennessy, it's Kevin Hennessy beaten by Pat Dwyer. And Pat Dwyer has had a very good All-Ireland hurling final. Down to John Parr, the goal scorer in the second half for Kilkenny. That's out over the sideline. They're playing away, but the linesman has flagged. Pat Horan of Offaly here on this near side, and judging that the ball had gone out over the sideline, so it's going to be a Cork ball. On my watch, nearly 18 minutes gone in the second half. Here's Sean O'Gorman, fetched by Shawty McCarthy, who's worked very hard at midfield. Liam Simpson coming out, very committed full-back play, and Liam Welsh then belting it downfield again towards Christy Heffernan, making more and more of an impact. Well, it's stopped by Dennis Mulcahy, trying to get it across there towards John Parr, intercepted by Jim Cashman. Cashman lobbing it to the centre of the field. Bill Hennessy now winning so much ball in there along with Michael Phelan. Going towards the left-hand side, and it's tailed away. Kilkenny's third wide of the second half, 5 in all. Cork with just 1 wide in the second half to add to the 8 they had in the first.
Kilkenny obviously not happy with the contribution of Eamon Morrissey either, Ger. He hasn't scored yet in the game and was being outplayed by Brian Corcoran, so they're now trying that right half forward, and they'll be hoping he can get a couple of scores.
Well, he got just 2 points in last year's final, and you felt that if Kilkenny were to win, he would have to make a big contribution, and it's Tony O'Sullivan who's making the contribution for Cork with his 3rd point.
Cork certainly aren't going to dive down, and great score there by Tony O'Sullivan, but he's become so good at over the years, coming across the half-forward line from a very difficult angle, just picking Cork back that bit closer again.
But when you've got a Cork versus Kilkenny final, it usually goes right down to the final whistle.
Well, that's it, Ger. Cork looked down now about 5 or 6 minutes ago, but a couple of very handy points has brought them right back into it. And Jim Cashman is also making a greater impact now at centre-back.
So the game's swinging around interestingly. Pat O'Neill injured as he hit that one away. A foul there by Tomás Mulcahy on the head of Pat O'Neill. Michael Phelan, by the way, has now been moved in onto the 40. Watch this challenge again by Tomás Mulcahy. Nothing particularly dangerous.
Tries to block the ball. I don't think there was anything intentional there at all, but maybe his hurley was a bit high and the referee felt it was dangerous play. Certainly no intention to hit the player or anything like that there.
No, absolutely not. Just a kind of awkward clash. So in the Kilkenny bench, they'll be concerned, of course, about their centre half-back, Pat O'Neill, who missed a lot of the action. Well, the referee has taken the name of Tomás Mulcahy, and that's a little baffling because certainly there was a contact foul, but it certainly didn't look intentional. Certainly nothing dangerous about that challenge. Michael Phelan back on his feet, as we say, seems to have been moved into the 40.
Again, now Ger's a pressure free here for DJ Carey. Kilkenny have lost a bit of whatever they had going for them a while ago when they were hurling so well and taking their points rather easily. Now the pressure's on DJ Carey to get them back to just a goal lead again.
Yes, they're trying to regain that momentum. And DJ being told to take the free. His attention is still being given to Pat O'Neill. And this floats in well, and it could have gone anywhere, and it stopped in the end by Ger Cunningham. Out into the centre of the field again, DJ under it there with Cathal Casey. Casey wins this one. Not quite sure if it was a pass or just flicked away by Michael Phelan. Up towards Tomás Mulcahy, a player loose inside him. Now Tomás Mulcahy, you remember 2 points between the teams, on to Tony O'Sullivan. And he's put the ball wide. They've gone in to protest about it. Tony was certain it was a point. And the umpire there's a whole group of Cork men going in there to try and influence his decision. Kevin Hennessy incensed by it all.
Well, Cork an extra man here. Tomas Mulcahy just releases the ball. Tony O'Sullivan normally deadly, and to be perfectly honest about it, I thought it had just gone wide. But the angle isn't great here, but I must say, I just thought it was shot off his hurley just the side of the post.
Well, the umpire at least was behind the goal. He had a good view of it. Pat Hartnett beaten for it by DJ Carey. Fumbled in there by Pat Buckley. And it's the other number 8 Phelan who takes it inside towards Liam McCarthy. And it's gone in! A goal by Liam McCarthy. It could be the most significant score in the match. Cork denied a point at the other end, and the very next attack produces a Kilkenny goal with 22 minutes gone in the second half.
Well, here you see it, Pat Buckley. The ball should really have been cleared by Pat Buckley. Fumbles it, falls loose to Michael Phelan, who mishits the ball, I think, in fairness. Breaks back to Liam McCarthy. Beautiful shot off the ground. Fantastic goal by Liam McCarthy. Took it absolutely brilliantly. But again, you know, it was a ball that Cork defence might well have cleared, and they've fumbled quite a lot of those today.
Adrian Ronan has come in to the half-forward line to replace Eamon Morrissey, who didn't make a marked contribution by any manner of means this afternoon. Didn't get a shot on target at any stage. So now Pat O'Neill, the bandaged hero at the centre of Kilkenny's half-back line. Down towards Liam Fennelly. Switched in there to top of the left, watched all the time by Shawnee O'Gorman. The challenge there coming in from Pat Hartnett, batted down by Pat Buckley. Now Ronan a chance to make an impression and show the selectors that they were wrong to omit him in the first place. The shoulder coming in from Corcoran, deemed to be a fair one. John Power advancing. Hitting this one in, and he's put it wide.
Brilliant tackle again there by Brian Corcoran. Just the right thing when the opponent has possession. Hit him with your shoulder perfectly legitimately and knocks him off his stride and puts the pressure back on the player with the ball.
And Mark Foley has just been introduced by Cork. Well, it's the gamble that I'm sure they felt they had to take. And Pat Buckley seems to be the one who's been withdrawn. Shawnee McCarthy in a restructured Cork team has gone back to left half back. Buckley's off, Foley's in. There's 5 points between the teams, and on my watch just about 11 minutes to go. Looking good for Kilkenny following that goal by Liam McCarthy. So Mark Foley, who scored those great 2 goals and 7 points against Tipperary in the Munster final of 1990. Sometimes you wonder if it was the best thing that could have happened to him at that particular stage in his career, because he was always going to be judged by that particular scoreline. It hasn't worked out all that well for him in the last 2 years. Referee nipping in now to have a quick word with both Teddy McCarthy and Bill Hennessy and warn them about various kinds of monkey play. 2 teams, 2 players well fired up. The prize, the biggest one on offer in hurling. A chance to bring the Liam McCarthy back to north side or to lee side. Mark Foley is in at centre half forward on Pat O'Neill. Cork with 11 points in all out of 21 attempts, and Kilkenny with 10 points effectively out of 17 attempts, but that of course translated into those 3 goals and 7 points. Picked up here by Willie O'Connor, partially blocked, comes out however to the vigilant Pat O'Neill, playing his heart out. Long ball down as far as Liam McCarthy again, blocked by Brian Corcoran. That's lovely skill. Persistence by Liam McCarthy just to try and get in a counter block, almost works. Liam Fennelly fetching it back inside towards Phelan, opening up those broad shoulders, and it sails over the crossbar. There's silence on the hill where the Cork people are, but all around the ground the Kilkenny fans saluting that latest score for Kilkenny, the first by Michael Phelan.
Yeah, good play again here by Liam McCarthy. Keeps blocking down this game today. It's been absolutely unbelievable. Liam Fennelly gathers the ball well, spots Michael Phelan loose inside, and a very good point by the midfielder. Great score for Kilkenny again.
Christy Heffernan back on the 40. Meanwhile, it's Teddy McCarthy raiding inside the half-back line of Kilkenny and dropping this one over the bar. The second point for Teddy. But 5 points between the teams. Time ebbing away from a Cork point of view. Just about 9 minutes, a little under 9 minutes to go. So our Kilkenny to bridge a 9-year gap. Beaten in the final of 1987 by Galway. Beaten again, of course, last year. So seeking to make amends. Have they got the greater hunger? The incentive great for both teams. Dennis Mulcahy clashes hard, ferocious at times. And that's Brian Corcoran from a tight situation up towards Teddy McCarthy, runs into Mark Foley. Well, they need a big display from Foley and from another substitute here, Ger Manley. They've shown their full hand at this stage, having introduced their 3 second-half subs, but it's Pat O'Neill who continues to defy them time and again. Towards Phelan. They have the look of a winning team. And Michael Phelan has dropped it over the bar. And this lady here from Kilkenny, I'm sure has waited like so many of the Kilkenny fans an inordinate length of time to see the cup finally go back towards Northside. But there's still minutes to go.
Inspiration play again by Pat O'Neill, who has certainly been a hero for Kilkenny at centre half back today. Spotted the loose man, and Michael Phelan, who's not going to full forward, gets another fantastic score.
Here's Christie, now on the 40. Scorer of 2 goals and 3 points, remember, against Cork in the 1982 final. Now 10 years on, looking to add to the medal tally. Liam McCarthy. A much happier looking Kilkenny forward line in the second half. They allowed Cork back in at one stage. Back to within 1 or 2 points. But it's Pat O'Neill again, standing defiantly there at centre half back. Playing a terrific match. Out it comes to Michael Phelan, trying to gain something, but surrounded by red shirts from Cork.
The amount of times the ball has been fumbled in the Cork defence has been amazing. They've given away quite a lot of scores at that. But of course, that's as a result, I suppose, of the pressure Kilkenny forward end are putting on them as well. You must give them credit for that.
It's been a very good display by the Kilkenny forward line. Brian Corcoran now left half back. Switches all about the place. These young Kilkenny fans hoping that the next 6.5 minutes tick away as fast as possible. They want to invade the pitch, but the Corkmen will make them fight right to the very end. That's the nature of Cork hurling, and always has been. Bill Hennessy now, turning on his left-hand side. And Christie ambling across, nobody picked him up. Keeping the ball in play, chance to set up a scoring chance. Cork back there in numbers once again. Pat Hartnett whipping it into the centre, but it's met by John Parr. Stumbles, but there's players calling for it outside him. Adrian Ronan was free. Parr going on his own. And Adrian Ronan exchanging a glance at John Parr to say, well, why didn't you give it to me? I could have taken a score.
I think he should have, Jared. The game is never all over, and when you spot a loose man outside, you think you should give it to him, and Adrian Ronan would probably have scored, and John was under pressure himself.
Well, Cork led by 2 points, wind assisted at half-time. It's now Kilkenny who lead by 6. John Parr watching that one drop over his head. His wing-back colleague Liam Welch was well positioned. Now Mark Foley. He did 2 minds originally as he was orchestrating that attack. John Fitzgibbon didn't score at all so far. Tony O'Sullivan got those 3 points. But several of the Cork forwards had a very disappointing day. In towards Kevin Hennessy with 1 point to his credit off the goalkeeper. It might have been destined for the side netting in any case, but Michael Welch wasn't to know that.
I think, Jared, it's dire straits for Cork at this stage, and they desperately need a goal. Jim Cashman will try and drop this one in around the square, and hopefully Kevin Hennessy or John Fitzgibbon get a touch onto it and try and get a scrape another goal in the last couple of minutes, but it really is desperation stakes.
Judge for yourself here. I thought this was headed for the side netting, but Michael Welch wasn't going to take the chance. In towards Kevin Hennessy again. Mark Foley in there, battling with Pat O'Neill inevitably. And Willie O'Connor watches it picked up by Ger Manley across the face of the goal toward John Fitzgibbon. Out towards Liam Welch here. Welch taking the ball out of danger. They need a long clearance. Into the centre it goes. Towards DJ Carey, met by Pat Hart and whipped back in again. 2 Kilkenny men go for the one ball down towards Ger Manley. Manley raiding, Cork needing a goal. They get it! Manley, the goal scorer. A mistake by 2 of the Kilkenny backs going for the same ball. And that allows Manley and Cork back into the match with just about 4 minutes still to go.
Jared, just as I said, Cork desperately needed a goal. And they're right back in. Brilliant pull on the ball by Pat Hart, who beat DJ Carey to the pull. And again, loose play inside around the square. Ger Manley
gathers it well, takes on the defence, and just as we saw earlier, kicks the ball again. The roof of the net. What a boost for Cork at this stage. There's still time to draw this game. If Cork can hold their heads, they're right back in the game.
3-9 to 112, 18 points to 15. DJ Carey needing a score just to push them that little bit further ahead, and he misses, and it's an 8 wide. 6-0 in the second half for Kilkenny. Tension now everywhere. Well, just when you thought that Kilkenny were already ready to rehearse the Rose of Moon coin, Cork come crashing back. It's not over yet. There hasn't been a draw in the All-Ireland Series in the final since 1959, a long time ago. John Parr back there to deny. Tomas Mulcahy, pulsating stuff. John Parr brilliantly out of defence. Way down towards Michael Phelan, stopped in there by Shawnee McCarthy. Across towards Adrian Ronan, battling the whole time with Brian Corcoran. Ronan tried to deny Corcoran space. It succeeds. In comes Michael Phelan. Kilkenny wanting to hold on now to their 3-point advantage and lift their first McCarthy Cup for 9 years. That looks good. It's excellent. And Ronan has put it over the bar.
Well, Kilkenny can certainly thank John Paul for that score. He went back and won an absolutely brilliant ball from Tomas Mulcahy, and a fantastic insurance score from Adrian Ronan right on the touchline.
Yes, the climax of a most enjoyable All-Ireland hurling final. A game which started in drizzly, miserable conditions. Now at least it's dry. John Fitzgibbon holding on for dear life, needing support. Manley's nearby, so too, however, Pat Dwyer, part of a very, very effective Kilkenny defence. But the pressure applied once again by Ger Manley in towards John Fitzgibbon, who's got absolutely nothing out of Eddie O'Connor this afternoon. Cut out here by Brian Corcoran, pushed up to left half back to exert an even bigger influence in the attack. Stop back there by Liam Welsh lifting the siege. 2 minutes to go. 4 points between them. Kilkenny living on their nerves. Cork still in there with a little bit of hope, but it's just a flicker of hope really. Kilkenny with the free, 45 metres out. The free conceded by Shawnee McCarthy, who certainly has given 100% to Cork's cause.
Yeah, what a fantastic game, and Cork might have looked down note at one stage, but they've certainly shown great heart and great commitment to come back to be in the game still with a chance at this stage. But you've got to admire Kilkenny, they've held their heads just when they look like they might let a big lead slip, and again very hard free here for DJ Carey. This will be a great one to score, I'm sure, give Kilkenny a great boost.
Just for a minute there he looked to his left where Adrian Ronan was free, and now I think he just wants to use a couple of seconds very sensibly. Opted to take the shot inside, and Ger Cunningham has difficulty taking it, but again secure goalkeeper by Ger, playing in his 42nd championship match.
Great save by Ger. That was a very difficult ball flying at him at a dangerous level, and he did very well once again.
Inside the final minute, the whistling is from the Kilkenny Amateur Whistling Association. Here en masse, ball has been touched on the ground there. Very quickly taken, stopped there by Eddie O'Connor, but Tony O'Sullivan. Cork needing the goal to stay in the hunt. Mark Foley, the shot from Michael Welch. Great goalkeeping. He takes it out over the end line. It's going to be another 65. What a terrific save under great pressure.
Brilliant save by Michael Welch, who has played a fantastic game all day. And you know, if Cork want to go at that stage again, there was just a point in it, and who knows what's going to happen. Brilliant save under pressure. He has played excellently all day.
Well, not a 65 as you see, a free out instead for that foul. John Parr watching. Liam Fennelly, will he be stepping up to receive the new McCarthy Cup in a couple of minutes' time? Drafted by a Kilkenny man, named after a famed Cork man. Some of Cork's senior players in attack this afternoon really weren't able to do the business. The Kilkenny backs group well. Their forwards have taken their chances. We're in injury time. Kilkenny lead by 4 points. Cork again looking for a late score. But it's Willie O'Connor who drops it out of defence, down towards Liam Fennelly, runs on towards Christy Heffernan, the big Glenmore man, looking about him, needing a secure pass, didn't get it, it's all over! And Kilkenny have won the 1992 All-Ireland Hurling Final. Ollie Welch and Ted Carroll celebrate. John Parr, one of the goal scorers in the second half, along with Liam McCarthy and DJ Carey from the penalty. I'm sure that everybody in Kilkenny, and indeed Kilkenny people all over the globe watching this, will enjoy this momentous triumph, a first victory since 1983, and Cork people will be the first to acknowledge their excellence. They win by 4 points. Final score, Kilkenny 3 goals and 10 points. Cork 1 goal and 12.
Well, Ger, as you said, heartiest congratulations to Kilkenny. Fully deserved victory on the day. They played some fantastic hurling and fully deserving of their victory. Tremendous scores, tremendous sporting contests as well. What a tremendous advertisement for the game of hurling. And I think both counties deserve great credit for the way in which the game was played today.
And Jimmy, those goals were so very significant.
They were, Ger. They came at vital times, and while Cork might rue one or two handling errors in defence, they were certainly vital, and Kilkenny took their chances when they came. You know, full credit to them. They lost the final last year. They might well have won. It takes a lot of courage to come back and win the following year, and that's exactly what they've done. But I have to say, some of my own former colleagues fought with great heart and determination, and Cork certainly went down with all colours flying.
Curiously, they had just about the same number of attempts at scores, 25 for Cork, 23 for Kilkenny. And Liam Fennelly, the only statistic he is worried about is that final score, which sees his team emerge by 4 points. One of the nicest people in the game, and Christy Heffernan, big-hearted fellow, the Taoiseach and the president of the GA, Peter Quinn, and the president of Ireland congratulating Liam Fennelly. I'm sure he will be thinking now, perhaps, at some stage today, of his late father Kevin, who died sadly during the year. Wasn't here to see this great scene, but he's in that Croke Park in the heavens, I'm sure, watching down just now. Very proud of his son. Very proud of a tremendous Kilkenny performance of great heart and determination, Jimmy.
That's right, sure. It must be a tremendous moment for Liam Fennelly, one of the great sportsmen of the last 15 years. Tremendous hurler and a great credit to his county, and I'm sure his late father, who was also a great hurling man, a great clubman, the Shamrocks Ballyhill, and his whole family can be very proud of him tonight.
Overall, however, Jimmy, despite the wretched conditions, the players really gave us some tremendous entertainment. For that we credit both teams.
Great sportsmanship, Derek, great commitment, and I think it was one of the great All-Ireland finals given the conditions. I certainly enjoyed it.
Agus crohi an gá an é sin inniu. Gón có gorgeous leis an gáirin. Gón có brón le Corky, de mar siad go mai. Agus gón có gorgeous le Kilkenny, bhí an bua tilseacha. Tá far ina hasú taobhlum, a drop an Sean Paul McCarthy ar son a Conley, name léan ó hin. Agus an this is Cúis an Oregon, an Cornua of Runaware in Leana. Our Liam Fennelly, captain Kilkenny.
It's a very proud moment for Liam Fennelly. The McCarthy Cup goes back to Moorside. It'll be back at the Marble City tomorrow night. Kilkenny, the champions of 1992. And Ollie Walsh in there in the middle of it all to celebrate. Well done to Ollie.
Ultron Hearn. Agus gach ein dinne tá showing you. But pleasure may fain, agus an Fern Kilkenny. And Corn show at Locke, agus an how to Rascally on Conde Rees. First of all, on behalf of the team, the players and the panel, I would like to thank the Cork team. They came up here today expecting to win just like we did. We came up last year and lost. Thanks be to God, we came up this year and won. I would like to pay tribute to the Cork team for a fine sporting game. I would like, on behalf of the team and panel, to thank many men. 3 men in particular. At the beginning of the year, we called them selectors and tacticians. More people said they would have to be magicians to win our Ireland with that team. I'd like to thank Pat Elwood, Nicky Brennan, and that man, coach, selector, tactician, magician, Ollie Walsh. Also, Sinner. Also, we have Dr. Cunny, Dr. Bill as we call him, Shawnee Kelly, Bill Deegan, Jim Freeman of the Supporters Club. Not to forget our sponsors, Matt and Max Phillips. I have to mention them. Most of all, you know who I'm talking about. Came in 87 we lost, came in 91 we lost, but this time we are bringing something back to you tomorrow night. On a personal note, I am very proud to be a Kilkenny man today. To walk up them steps to receive any cup is an honour, but by God, to walk up them steps to receive the McCarthy Cup is more than an honour. In 12 months, for ourselves, we've had some very sad occasions. And today, personally, there's a touch of sadness in my voice. But it gives me great satisfaction to come up here today and receive the McCarthy Cup. Thank you. Now, just to finish off, I will give the customary 3 cheers for Jeff Fitzgerald and his men. Hip hip! Hip hip! Hip hip!
Yes, it was one of the very best acceptance speeches there by Liam Fennelly. The second time he's done so. He makes history, of course, by being the first man to come up and take the new McCarthy Cup, having already captained the side to the old McCarthy Cup back in the early 80s. The Cork team very sportingly stayed out to congratulate Kilkenny. For Kilkenny, the masters, no question about that.
Yes, Liam Fennelly will take Liam Og back to Kilkenny with him tomorrow afternoon, and what celebrations there are in store for them there. Liam Fennelly, the last man, of course, to captain the Kilkenny team to success in the All-Ireland final in 1983. 9 years later, he has the distinction. A magnificent effort by everybody out there. 9 years later, he has the distinction. A magnificent effort by everybody out there today.
I mean, that was a performance of the highest standard, you know. I know it's a cliche to say that every All-Ireland is a sweet All-Ireland, and, you know, comparing teams, I hate that, comparing things back. But that was a tremendous effort altogether, because from both teams, really, because the conditions were diabolical. And, you know, people sit up in a stand, or we sit in a dugout and you criticise some guy for missing a ball, but with a greasy ball like that and the conditions that was in it, you know, it was a bit of a lottery for a long, long way. But our fellas stuck to their task. They were told what to do, they did it, and they'd won an All-Ireland for it.
All he told us, like, all during the week, that if we could hold a cockful forward to a goal or 2 at the most, like, then we'd have a great chance of winning, like. And it was only in the end of the game, like, when the Cock substitute, Jerry Manley, got a great goal, like. But we're delighted, like, the full back line in particular, like, we're delighted to have done a job, like, because a lot of people, like, wrote us off during the year, and they were saying when we meet the Cockful forward line that we wouldn't have a hope of holding them, like, so we're just thrilled.
I felt for the lads coming near the end there with some balls dropping in on top of them, and there's an awful lot of pressure. One small slip and they're in trouble, you know. So they had a fantastic game, the full back line and half back line.
I thought they had a great game in front of me. You know, they were letting nothing through. They were controlling everything that was coming down in the air, you know, and the breaks that we were going out and they were driving it down the field, which gave us great relief. It was a real dog-eat-dog battle there in the middle of the field to get the ball, and we eventually got through, and John Howard had a great second half, and Bill also, they played magnificently in the second half.
Well, Michael, you've always played good hurling, but this year you seem to be playing great hurling.
Well, it all adds up now. We have the All-Ireland Cup anyway, and that's all adds up to anyway.
Yes, comments from some of the victorious Kilkenny team recorded earlier on this afternoon in Croke Park. Well, right now we're here live in the Green Isle Hotel in Clondalkin with the victorious Kilkenny team. Kilkenny team that I can tell you right now is a very happy one and a very contented one, because they're being fed at the moment their roast beef and roast potatoes. They're also, I can tell you, a very relieved Kilkenny team, because they will cast their minds back to 12 months ago when they attended one of these after-match functions as the beaten All-Ireland finalists. Well, in a moment we'll be talking some more to some of those people who are involved in this afternoon's match, but right now though, let's take a look at the statistics from today's game. And indeed the stats show us that there was very little between the two sides. In terms of wides, Cork hits 10 wides, Kilkenny 2 less, 8 wides to them. on frees conceded. Again, not too much between the two sides there. Kilkenny conceding 16 frees, and Cork again 2 less for 14. That made a total of 30 frees altogether, and that statistics suggest that this was, given the weather conditions that were prevalent today, quite a free-flowing match. Well, I can tell you there aren't too many Cork people in the room here tonight. Jimmy Barry Murphy is one of them. He got a big reception from the Kilkenny people when he arrived in a little bit earlier on. He's been giving his thoughts on this afternoon's match and what he thought of this year's All-Ireland final to Ger Canning.
Terrific game. Well, Ger, I must say, I thought it was a very good game in the conditions. Initially the weather didn't help good hurling. A lot of rain and wind around, that never suits good hurlers. But overall, I must say, I thought the players showed great commitment, great sportsmanship, and you'd have to say that it was a very exciting final.
Now, Kilkenny got that vital break just before half-time. About 4 minutes to go to the break, in fact. James E. Brennan on the burst. What did you make of that?
Yeah, well, at the time, I must say, I felt there might have been a question mark about a free out. Looking at it again, James E. Brennan gathers the ball very well, and actually it appears to charge at the Cork and score with his head down. He falls down, and as he tries to hand pass the ball away, I think, if you look at it very closely, the ball seems to come back under his hand onto the ground, and the Cork players certainly felt there might have been a free out. It's very hard to say from looking at it again, in fairness to the referee, you know. But actually Dennis Welch came in then quite wildly and pulled, and I think the danger had been averted at that stage, and the referee for that offence awarded a penalty.
Now, you mentioned the Cork players. There were early switches made by Cork in attack and in defence. Were they counterproductive?
It's something I'm always wondering about, you know, when you start chopping and changing your team, whether it's a good or a bad thing. Now, some of the switches worked for Cork. Brian Cochran went to left corner back to Mark Evan Morrissey, who was considered to be the danger man. But he snuffed him out very, very well, and had a fantastic game. But the switches in the forward line certainly didn't work today, and you know, it's easy to be wise in hindsight. But Kevin Hennessy going to left corner forward, and Tomas Mulcahy left wing, you know, they seem to work for a while, but overall Cork seemed to be a bit disorganised in attack in general.
We wondered before the game whether Kilkenny were weak down the centre of their defence, but Pat O'Neill certainly gave us our answer today, and in fact he led directly to the second goal.
He did indeed. Funny enough, Pat was playing right half back early on, and he was a bit unsettled, but when Kilkenny moved him back to centre half back, he turned the whole game around, and he had this high delivery which he made many in the second half, dropping him around the square, and this after Christy Heffernan had been introduced. The ball from broken play, John Paul, Cork back seemed to be get a bit convergent on Christy Heffernan for some reason, and John Paul gathered it very well, and you know, showed great determination, kicked the ball home.
Just before we look at the third goal now for Kilkenny, there was a degree of fumbling this afternoon among the backs by Cork.
There was indeed, during quite a number of scores. In fact, I think about a goal and 3 or 4 points resulted from Cork players actually fumbling or not handling the ball well on the occasion. And in this instance here, Pat Buckley has the ball almost on his own, and he knocks it back out of his hand, to be robbed by Michael Phelan. It's a low ball in, and unluckily for Cork, it actually strikes Brian Cochran on the leg, and it breaks away from him. Liam McCarthy strikes from a fantastic goal. Took it beautifully, but you know, again, it was one of those occasions when the Cork backs might have well had the ball cleared at that stage.
Well, it was desperation stakes at this stage for Cork, so Pat Hartnett was in, and Mark Foley was in, and Ger Manley as well. Should they have been in earlier?
Well, you know, it's certainly, I felt that Pat Hartnett might have been introduced earlier, with him going to right half back, marking DJ Carey, who had tormented the Cork team. Cathal Casey in the midfield, who wasn't playing well in the half back line, and Ger Manley in the full forward line. It's certainly Cork for the next quarter played with great fire, and they really put up Kilkenny at that stage. And towards the end of the game, the Cork team had a far better shape of it than they had earlier.
And of course, Manley was in there for his goal as well.
He was indeed, and you know, there might have been a question mark about the number of steps he took, but he was under pressure at the time, and he showed great determination, and it was a great ball won by Pat Hartnett actually in the pull with DJ Carey, first time into the square, and you know, that was the kind of spark that Cork needed earlier in the game probably.
Kilkenny's backs, of course, excelled, and Michael Welch made a splendid save towards the end there from Mark Foley.
He did, and their backs have been excellent all the year, and again, as we said already earlier in the year, they didn't give away any stupid frees. They held their positions well, and the full back line certainly put the shackles on the Cork full forward line today, and I suppose Cork really were hoping for goals from the full forward line, and that's a great tribute to both the full back line and Michael Welch, who had an outstanding season all through.
Yes, Jimmy Barry Murphy there, keeping a safe distance out of the reserved bar, talking to Ger Canning. Jimmy Barry Murphy has one other very important function to fulfil here tonight. That's the naming of the RTE Telecom Éireann Man of the Match. Well, that's coming up a little bit later on. But let's not forget that today was also a very important one for the... It was also a very important one for the...
He's got a lot to answer for when he goes back to Cork. But and that's a great night, Ger, for Kilkenny. They fully deserve their win, and Cork people certainly will be the first to congratulate them. They were unlucky last year, I suppose, but it's a great sign of a team to come back and show the character that they showed this year. And I think their performances in every game, they're fully deserving of winning the All-Ireland.
Now, some terrific performances today on both sides, and I know you were taken by at least one player from each team, I think.
Certainly, I must say, I have to single out my own countryman. First of all, Brian Cochran, I thought, for a player of 19 years of age, he gave a tremendous exhibition at corner back and at left half back. When Cork were under a lot of pressure, he showed great maturity and belied his years, really. I thought he gave a tremendous display. But I think when you're picking man of the match, you've got to decide performance. I think that was the difference between winning and losing, maybe. And for me today, on the Kilkenny side, there was one player in particular who epitomised the spirit of the team and determination. And even after receiving a fairly serious injury, accidental injury by the way, he showed great character and inspired his team. And I think my choice would have to be today Pat O'Neill of Kilkenny.
Well done indeed to Pat O'Neill, the Telecom Éireann Man of the Match winner. And there's another little gift. You don't have that watch yet, do you? Well, we've got one here for you. Here we go. Let's have the presentation here from Andrew Conlon.
Congratulations to you, well done. Telecom is proud to present you with this Man of the Match award.
Let's have a very quick word with Pat then. You had all these problems with injuries, but you gave a storming display this afternoon.
Without injuries started help coming into it, like, you know. There was no real pressure on me. And Liam Welch and Willie O'Connor beside me were great, like, you know. They helped me greatly, like, and I'm happy enough. Right.
You looked like you were enjoying yourself.
Oh, I was alright, yeah. It was first All-Ireland, like, you know. So hopefully I can build on this, like, you know.
And of course in '88, didn't you win another All-Ireland, the minor, against Cork also?
Right, yeah.
You do well against Cork.
I like playing against Cork, right, yeah. They're great hurling tradition down there, like, you know. And fair play to them, like, you know. But I was happy enough.
You enjoyed the final?
Oh, I did, alright, yeah. Definitely.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Telecom Éireann, RT Telecom Éireann Man of the Match for the 1992 final, Pat O'Neill.
Yeah, so congratulations once again to Pat O'Neill on an absolutely superb centre-back performance today for Kilkenny. Well, it's been a great day for Kilkenny senior hurlers, for Galway minor hurlers. And of course, their performances this afternoon mark the end of another championship year in hurling. And it's like so many summers that have gone before, there have been their memorable moments throughout the campaign. There's been many winners, but of course, inevitably, many more losers. But I'm sure on this special night of hurling, they will all agree on one thing. Throughout the championship, it's really been all in the game. Game ending on a musical note tonight with It's All in the Game. This is the last hurling programme of the year. There is one more Sunday game to go, of course, in 2 weeks' time. Well, it'll be all in another game, that's the All-Ireland football final. It's a unique pairing in this year's All-Ireland football final and a first ever appearance for County Donegal. They take on the Navy and Blue, the Dubs, the red-hot favourites to take this year's title. Meath will be there as well in the minor final against the fancied Ulster champions Armagh. The All-Ireland football finals at Croke Park live on Network 2 with the Sunday game later on at 8 o'clock. Yes, the All-Ireland football final between the Dubs and, of course, Donegal making their first ever appearance in the final, not forgetting the minors as well of Meath and Armagh. And on that note, we bring the Sunday game to a close for tonight. Thank you very much for joining us here at the Green Isle Hotel. I'm going to go and see now if there's any Kilkenny man who'd like to buy me a pint, with one of us here on the programme. I hope there is. Good night.
The final of several years ago. This is DJ Carey at a significant stage of the match, coming up to hit the penalty and score! 4 minutes before half-time. Meanwhile, Sean McCarthy batting it down at the centre of the field. Well fed back by Michael Phelan to Pat O'Neill. A day for rolling up the sleeves and doing the simple things well by both teams. In towards Big Christie. Being marked in there by Dennis Mulcahy. John Parr foraging. John Parr breaking through. And John Parr
Pat Hartnett beaten for it by DJ Carey. Fumbled in there by Buckley, and it's the other number 8 Phelan who takes it inside towards Liam McCarthy, and it's gone in! A goal by Liam McCarthy. It could be the most significant score in the match.
We came up last year and lost. Thanks be to God, we come up this year and won. I would like to pay tribute to the Cork team for a fine sporting game. Came in 87 we lost, came in 91 we lost, but this time we are bringing something back to you tomorrow night.
It's a very proud moment for Liam Kennelly. The McCarthy Cup goes back to Moorside. It'll be back in the Marble City tomorrow night. Kilkenny, the champions of 1992.